Many years ago, I was crowned an NES tournament champion. I'll tell you all about it right now. It was the year 1993 and I was 8 years old. My mother used to work at the YWCA where she was responsible for managing after-school activities, such as karate, dancing, gymnastics, and a few other activities where you either had a great or miserable experience. One of the events she organized was a Nintendo tournament as a fundraiser for the facility. I believe there were three different age groups. I was in the youngest division, ages 6 to 8. I think I faced about 10 to 12 other competitors. The older kids had many more contestants than we did, but each age group also played a different set of games. I don't remember every game the older kids played, but my age group had to play 10 minutes of Super Mario Bros. In round 1 and 10 minutes of Bubble Bobble in round 2. However, if you game overed? Is that the proper term? Well, it was the vocabulary I used back then, so I'll still use it today. If you game overed, your turn with that game was done, even if you still had some of your 10 minutes remaining. Yeah, the rules were harsh. When both rounds were complete, a judge would combine your total points from each game, and the winner would receive a $50 gift certificate to a local video rental store who sponsored the tournament. So, as the tournament began, my group had to play Super Mario Bros. First. Now, I was very familiar with this game, having owned it since 1988. My dad helped me practice in the days leading up to the contest. I developed a strategy of locating every power-up, bursting every brick, and collecting every coin. Was this ideal? Well, honestly, I'm not sure. Maybe it was more important to go fast to accumulate more points at the end of each level. We didn't thoroughly test this hypothesis, just focused on getting points while playing. Anyway, I crushed it on Mario. I don't remember exactly how many points I accumulated, but it was way higher than anyone else in my age group. I don't think I watched too much of anyone else playing, but my dad told me that I was leading my group by quite a large margin after round 1. A little while later, round 2 began. Bubble Bobble. Now with this game, I must admit, I was too cocky. We rented it about a week before the tournament, and my dad and I labeled it as a baby game that was too easy. Well, that backfired. It was obvious that I wasn't well prepared, as I took a couple of early deaths. Sure enough, I game overed with a few minutes left on the clock. That left a lot of points on the table there. Despite my poor play in Bubble Bobble, my confidence was not shaken too much. As it turned out, many of the other competitors also did not finish the full 10 minutes of the game either. I thought I was still in position to take the title. However, towards the end of the day, my dad gave me the bad news. One of the 6-year-olds absolutely crushed Bubble Bobble. A 6-year-old. I didn't remember his name. I just remember that he recently moved to the US from Japan and spoke very little English. Anyway, the judges crunched the numbers, they accumulated the point totals, and it turns out that the winner was both of us. We tied down to the very point. This was the third year of the Nintendo tournament, and it was the first time there had ever been a tie. No one anticipated this. After a brief informal meeting, the judges determined that in order to break the tie, my rival and I had to compete in an overtime period. The overtime rules were simple. We would each play 5 minutes of Super Mario Bros. Once I heard that, my confidence increased again. I'm not sure how my competition felt, but I can't imagine he felt all that great. After all, remember, I smoked him in Mario earlier, right before he smoked me in Bubble Bobble. To start the overtime, there was a coin toss. I won the toss and elected to play second. This way, I would know what score I had to beat. I was also allowed to watch him play, just as we were allowed to watch anyone in the earlier rounds. I even snuck over at one point during round 1 to the older kids' room. I remember, they were playing Ninja Gaiden. So as the overtime began, I watched my competition. I noticed right away he was playing extremely nonchalant. He was not too concerned about gathering coins, breaking blocks, or killing enemies. After a minute or two of watching him play, I felt like I had it in the bag. When it was my turn, I was super confident. I made sure to gather every mushroom, flower, star, and coin in sight. I also busted every brick I could possibly reach. With just over 1 minute remaining, I passed my competitor's score, immediately determining that I was the champion. They didn't even let me finish my 5 minutes. I was so excited during the ceremony, hearing my name announced and receiving that $50 gift certificate. For an 8-year-old, that was a big deal, and a lot of money. I mentioned earlier that a local video rental store sponsored the tournament. That store was called Top Gun Video. I have so many memories of that place. I might tell some more stories about rental stores in future videos. We'll see. After the tournament was complete, my dad drove me directly over to Top Gun Video so I could spend my hard-earned cash. I really wish I had some old photos or footage of that store. It was one of my favorite places to go as a child, but unfortunately, I don't. Top Gun Video was mainly a rental store, but they had games for sale as well. Their NES game prices ranged from about $20 up to $50, depending on the game. This was a tough decision for an 8-year-old, and it's the first time I remember having such a large amount of money to spend, but at the same time, I was on a budget. I decided early on to go for 2 cheaper games instead of 1 expensive game, because as every 8-year-old would tell you, 2 is better than 1. So after searching and contemplating for several minutes, what did I choose? I bought these 2 cartridges right here. Town and Country Surf Designs and Kung Fu. I had rented these games in the past and enjoyed both of them quite a bit. I mainly liked TNC Surf Designs for the skateboarding, not so much the surfing. I didn't understand the controls while on the surfboard, but the skating was straightforward and pretty fun. I especially liked slipping on that oil spill to add some extra pizzazz to every course. The music is rockin' in this game, and where else can you play as a skateboarding Elvis, or a tuxedo-wearing surfing cat? This game can be summed up in one word: cool. And I believe that's why I bought it. I wanted to be as cool as this game. As a kid, I enjoyed Kung Fu for its simplistic gameplay, yet it had a variety of moves. I especially liked the jump kick. There was nothing more satisfying than kicking one of those cowardly knife throwers right in the mug. And the sound effects are absolutely classic. Another thing I liked about Kung Fu was that the bosses had decent personalities for an 8-bit game. This guy will always be known as Shaq. That's what my friends and I called him back then, and I still do today. So that's the story on how I won a Nintendo tournament over 30 years ago. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to hear more tales from my childhood memories in the future, please like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. Maybe we can make this a regular series. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and have some fun today.